Hello, everyone. So, welcome to the session on the path to Ivy League mentoring. Thanks for joining, all of you. My name is Ashani Dasgupta. I'm very interested in mathematical sciences. I've done my PhD in mathematics from University of Wisconsin Milwaukee, and I'm interested in an area of mathematics called geometric group theory. So, geometric group theory is essentially a confluence of geometry, group theory, and topology. Recently, it has seen quite a bit of applied uptick in regards to some called geometric deep learning. So there is a lot of work related to that that's happening out there. So I'm quite interested in this sort of stuff. I'm also a director at Cheenta Academy. So I'm interested in teaching for Olympiads, research projects in school and stuff like that. So the path to Ivy Leagues program that we have at Cheenta is essentially a three-stage program. So the first stage is Olympiad, of course. We encourage kids who are in grades um, 1 and above, actually, quite early in the process, to start with mathematics Olympiad programs, because if you do well in American math competition or IOQM, you will actually do quite well in the long run in the university applications. So essentially what happens is that American math competition has a score out of 150, and students who are 135 or above, they are typically in the top 1% of the entire world. And that's a really commendable performance. And it's actually quite doable as well. So we recommend students who are interested in mathematical sciences to go for an Olympiad program, because it not only enforces the CV, the application, it also helps quite a bit into the problem solving mindset. So you learn how to solve complex problems. That is a very useful skill to have. The second thing that we suggest is the research project. So if you have a strong training on Olympiads, then you know how to solve good problems. You have already learned how to be patient enough. That's very important, because students are sometimes, when they're new into the process, they are very impatient about the solution, the final solution. They sometimes read solutions, they do chat GPT about solutions, so they're very worried about the solution. But we have to train our mind to be interested in the journey of problem solving. That happens in the Olympiad program, and then you sort of move to the research project. So you may check the website of Cheenta as well for some of the past examples. Very interesting projects can be done at the school level. We usually recommend students for grade 9 and above to apply for that. They are 6 to 7 months process. So you engage with some prerequisite learning first, and then you go into actual paper writing. People often apply for science fairs like ISEF and Breakthrough Junior Challenge Scholarship and Davidson Scholarship and so on. So there is a lot of mentoring that happens with the research project as well. So that's the second step. And the third step, and that is superbly important, that's the leadership program. So leadership programs essentially helps the students to work directly with small businesses and non-profits and solve world problems. And that is really a differentiating factor in the university applications, because the top-notch university, the top-tier universities of US in particular, they are not only looking for kids with strong academic background, they're also looking for children who are able to work in teams, who are able to solve real world problems. And you can check some of the past projects that we have examples. For example, we have had students who work with hospitals and rural hospitals in India, and create applications related to cataract. So that's and then they go directly into the rural quarters and collect data and train a neural network that can detect cataract from using just images. So that's an example of a leadership project. Another example of a leadership project would be to work with a small handicraft company in India and help it go global, thereby producing real employment, thereby improving the sales of the company, and so on. So these are the three different stages: Olympiad, research, and leadership. But they all come in together to produce a very interesting academic journey. For me, that's very much important. I mean, I'm not just interested in working with a fancy looking profile. That's not very interesting for me personally. What's important is the academic journey of the student should be rich enough to be powerful enough so that the profile automatically becomes very useful. So those are the three aspects of it. I strongly recommend that you at least work on two of them. If you can work on all three of them, that's also fine, but you should definitely start with Olympiad. You should not go into all of them together, because more is not better. You should try one by one, and then once you gain some expertise in one of them, then you can go to the other one. So the active mentoring process is there, of course. Once you are in the program with us, even if you are not with us, that's also, I mean, don't worry about that. With I mean, let me be very honest about it. If you have discipline, you can actually do it by yourself. It's not a big deal. You just have to know the right resources, and all of the right resources are a little bit Google away. So you have to just figure out a good plan, stay disciplined, and do it every day. That's all. Sometimes being part of an organization helps in that regularity and that all the information coming in together. But this is very much doable on your own. You don't have to join such and such organization to do this. I mean, if you think about it, all the Olympiad training that is out there, there's a lot of great videos online as well, and you can get hold of a great lot of books. Those are there, and if you can solve the problems, you will do well in the Olympiads. That's kind of guaranteed. And for the research projects, maybe you need a little bit more mentoring, but even then I would say that if you read, so I'll give a few names in the chat, maybe you can look at the papers. One of my favorite journals is the Mathematical Gazette. It's published by the University of Cambridge. You can look at it later after the seminar. Get familiar with research problems that high school level students can understand and work on. That could be very useful. And leadership project, I mean, of course, you can join Cheenta for that. You have projects every year on that, but also you can do it on your own. You don't really have to join any organization. Find a social cause or a company that is near your home. Try to collaborate with them and solve some sort of a real world problem, and then document the entire process. That's the key part. You have to document it. You have to keep a diary of it. So the way we kind of spread the week, this is, of course, for a very beginners kind of a thing, that sometimes students ask about time management. So we say that you spend 3 hours on doing mathematical problems every week, nice problems which are non-routine in nature. This is very beginning stuff. Obviously, later you will do 3 hours per day maybe. Okay, but when you are just starting out, you can do 3 hours a week of very nice problems. if you are just a beginner in the process, I'll give you a name of a book, um, Mathematical Circles by Foreman. It's a very nice little book. Um, Here we go. And then you should also try to read papers. So papers means journal papers. So I already gave you Mathematical Gazette. That's a nice place to start. Quanta is a great place. They do not produce journal articles, but they can get you started with some journal styled articles, I might say. So that's another place. I'm very fond of books. So books authored by real mathematicians, not by such and such publication doing an Olympiad book. Don't fall for those stupid things. Um, Choose books which are authored by real mathematicians. I'll give you one example. One of my favorite books is Geometry and Imagination by Hilbert. By Hilbert. That's one example. But there are, I often speak about books in our YouTube channel. You can have a look at it. And so when I say software, well, it really means that you can, Cheenta has a problem solving software, so problem practice software, you can use that. But even better, if you want to learn, if you are interested in this sort of stuff, then you can learn a bit of coding. That can always help. It's not necessary, it's not mandatory, but you can maybe learn a little bit of coding, because one reason I ask students to learn coding in this age of AI is it's not about writing softwares, it's about algorithmic thinking. It's a method of thinking that you learn to inculcate in yourself. That's a type of problem solving ability as well. And I often say, build a lab, make a small lab at your home. There is a very nice free resource from IIT Gandhinagar. I have spoken about this many times in this channel and like in many seminars. So this is called Center for Creative Learning. I think Professor Manish Jain and his team is doing a fabulous job. You can build a small lab at your home using the instructions and the tools that are mentioned there. It's all free. So best things in the world are free, actually, like air and water. Okay, so I think, yeah, I mean, if you have a very honest plan of learning something really well, if you have an honest plan of learning something really well, you have to take time to do it. But if you have a plan like that, then you will end up somewhere well. I mean, that's kind of no-brainer. So yeah, I mean, that is that. Now I will ask the students to ask some questions. If you have any questions, please ask me. I'll be happy to respond. You can raise your hand. There is a hand raise tool in Google Meet. I can respond to questions if you have any.
So my question is like, my goal is ISI.
Okay.
ISI Kolkata. So after ISI Kolkata, what can I do?
So that's a great question. If you are planning for your undergrad in India, then that's India has plenty of great places to do a really good undergraduate program. Now, while you do undergraduate program, then you can apply for American universities and European universities at the master's and PhD level. And the way to do it, so let me write it down in the chat. The first step are the standardized tests. You should plan for them in the second year of your undergrad. So there are 3 tests that you should be planning for. These are GRE, TOEFL, and subject GRE. Let me write it down. Here we go. And I will also put down the names of books that might be useful. For GRE, you can use Kaplan. For TOEFL, you don't really need a book, but if you want to spend some money, I guess, then you can use Kaplan as well. And for Subject theory, you have to know undergraduate level mathematics really well. So I think to get an overview, you should use Princeton Review as a book. I don't like the book, but it's just, it gives you a like a test with it, and it gives you all the topics. So I wouldn't learn the math from this book. I would use actual math books to learn the math, but I'll get a sense of what topics are there. Okay. So that those are the three books and these are the three tests. Okay. The second thing is you should start doing some sort of a research project, especially if you are aiming for European universities. And that research project could be first an expository paper on some topic. For example, I'm interested in geometry group theory. So whenever kids come to me, I tell them, okay, let's do something in geometry group theory. And thirdly, and then you can do a real paper, like a real paper. So what you do is you do a real paper in the sense you see some some topics that you are interested in, and you see what professors are publishing on that topic, and you check out the papers that they are working on. So naturally, if you try to read those papers, and if you try and extend those papers, like maybe slightly generalize the theorems that they have found, usually that's not superbly hard. Maybe they have not thought about everything, they are probably working on something very specific. So if you can do a slightly generalized version of a paper and then email the professors that, what do you email? Okay, hey, hello sir, I, or madam, whatever, I have read so and so paper, and here is an idea that I had about the theorem 4.11, maybe. I'm working on one such theorem right now. So lemma 4.11. Anyway, so naturally, the person who has been working on this will see that a kid from India or wherever is also thinking about the same thing. So they will probably respond to you, and then they can give you a recommendation letter. And your professors can, of course, do that as well. But I would say some external recommendation letters from US or European professors can really help. And if you are in Cheenta and you are doing a research project in Cheenta, then that will also. So we have people who can give you recommendation letters. So that's the second part. The third part is work and make money. While you are at ISI or whatever university you are at, you should definitely get work experience. This could be teaching experience. This could be creating a startup or some sort of a business experience. It could be an innovation. Maybe you are interested in speech related artificial intelligence. Maybe you want to convert how Santhali speak, and maybe you want to do some natural language processing. I don't know what you are interested in, but you do something like that. All three of these things then make a great profile for an university application after your undergraduates. And you can really go, you can skip the masters, you can directly go for a PhD if you want. Okay, all right. Who is next? Any other questions? Anyone? Okay, Abhinav, go ahead.
So universities, especially in the UK and the US, generally don't give out scholarships. So are there any external scholarships we can apply to for funding?
There are plenty of external scholarships and funding opportunities that are there, but one needs a lot of planning for that. One example is the Breakthrough Scholarship, Breakthrough Challenge Scholarship, Junior Challenge. There are plenty of other examples. David says, I don't know where you are from. If you are from India, then there are some options like Tata Scholarship in Cornell University. So there are quite a few options. Obviously, they are limited, but there are quite a few options, and you have to carefully plan for them. And if you are going in a program that that is that will be financially rewarding, then nowadays getting a education loan is also an option. Like, it kind of covers the fees. And also, I think you should definitely think about working when you are, whether you have a scholarship or not. Working is like fantastic. People should work, like, for money, of course. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. Any other questions? Anyone else? If you have a question at some point, kindly let me know. I will be very happy to respond to you. My email ID is this, and there's a lot of great mathematical stuff happening in the world right now. It's a great time to do math, actually. So, all the best to all of you. Thank you for joining, and I'll see you later then. Bye.